Hey guys, it's been a while, but I'm back, and today I'm going to be showing you my go-to makeup look. It's basically kind of just like my current favorite makeup routine. I usually don't have a ton of time to do my makeup lately, so this I can get done in like 15 to 20 minutes if I'm not talking through it. And it's super neutral and easy, and I can pop some lashes on to kick it up a notch, and it's just great. So if you want to hang out with me, just cozied up in my fleece jacket because it's a little bit cold in my house, I'll just show you some of my favorite products and my go-to makeup look. So if you want to see how to get this, then keep on watching. I don't think I've ever filmed a talk through makeup tutorial, so bear with me. Hopefully it's not going to be too awkward. So my go-to makeup look, starting with primer, I'm using the Too Faced Hangover RX primer. This works really well for me because I have a very dry skin, and I've of course already done my skincare routine. Foundation I change up a lot because it's going to depend on what my skin is like at the moment, the time of year, how much coverage I want that day. But lately I've been using Studio Sculpt foundation from MAC. I like to put a little bit of that on the back of my clean hand and then dot it all over my face. I'm just blending it in with this kind of like angled brush. This is from a Wet n Wild set that I saw going around social media a little before Christmas time, and so I asked my mom to get it for me for Christmas thinking she could just go to like, I don't know, Target or Walgreens or something and pick it up, but apparently it was sold out like everywhere, so my sweet mom bought me a kit on eBay and paid way too much money for it. They actually work super great and I've been very impressed. For concealer, my two favorites right now are the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, which is one of my very favorite drugstore concealers, and I've also been really loving the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I'm just going to use the Maybelline Fit Me today, and I just put a little bit under my eyes, or a lot depending on how much sleep I got the night before. And I like to put a little bit on my nose because I tend to get a little bit more redness there. A little bit above the brows and the center of my forehead. Again, this is just areas where I personally tend to get a little bit more redness in my skin. I'm going to use the same brush I used for foundation because the shape is nice for getting underneath the eyes. Next, I use Painterly Paintpot from MAC, and I'm just gonna actually just use my fingers and just do a tiny bit of this all over the lid. This is like my ride or die primer that I've been using since I was like 17 probably. And then to set underneath my eye and just powder down my eyelids now that I have the primer on. Lately I've been mixing two powders. One is from Kat Von D. I don't have the whole Shade Light Contour Kit because some of those colors I just knew would not work for me, but I ordered just this one shade that I was like, okay, I'll definitely use this. And it's Lucid, so it's the more pinky shade. And I mixed that with a little bit of MAC Pro Emphasize Shaping Powder, which is basically a white powder with a tiny bit of shimmer. I don't even want to call it shimmer. It's not quite shimmer. I would say it's more like a satin, I guess. And I have obviously used this a lot because I'm down to almost nothing. But I just like to mix those two together for underneath my eye. And then I'll just throw a little bit on my lid. And for eyeshadow, like I said, pretty simple. I only use, I think, 3 colors. I will pick any kind of matte to satin light cream shadow for underneath my brow and the inner corner of my eye. The palettes that I've been using the most lately are the Jaclyn Hill palette. Don't make fun of me for how gross this is, but it's a white palette, so like, what do they expect of me? But I use this one and again another white palette that looks gross. Don't judge me. the Lorac Mega Pro 3. First, like I said, because I'm getting very sidetracked, just a light creamy color. This one has Crepe, the shade right here, and put it underneath my brow and the inner corner of my eyes. So for the crease, I like to use a warm tan. So like in this palette, that would literally be like the shade tan, or the one next to it, it's pecan, that kind of color. So I'm gonna actually just mix tan and pecan together and start blending that in my crease. And the shape that I kind of have been doing lately is kind of like blowing it out almost to like the end of my brow a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Let me zoom in while I do my eyes. Okay, hopefully I'm gonna stay in frame here. This shape kind of goes out towards like where the end of my brow would be, if that makes sense. And I bring it pretty far in. I have pretty good lid space, but my actual eyelid is kind of small. So when I say I'm letting it in the crease, really I mean right above the crease of my eye. You just gotta make it work for your eye shape, you know? Then I take a darker, still warm brown. So a lot of times I will mix walnut with like a little bit of bark. And I just use kind of a packing motion. And I pack that like as close as I can get to the lash line in this little outer corner. And then I gently blend up to meet the other eyeshadow. But I don't take it much higher than my crease. Just use a little circular motions here. And if you need a little bit more blending assistance, you can go back in with the brush that you used for your crease color and just buff out that top edge. And then I'm gonna repeat similar steps on my lower lash line. So I'm gonna take a pencil brush and that tan color and just go ahead and blend that all along my whole lower lash line. And then I'm taking some kind of flat definer brush and picking up the darker brown and getting that as close along the lower lash line as possible. Basically like as an eyeliner. My camera just randomly stopped recording, and then I dropped my MAC blush palette on the ground, and we definitely have a casualty or two. So I'm gonna try not to think about that and get through the rest of the tutorial. I am taking the same dark brown shadow and I'm stamping it on my upper lash line, kind of like a eyeliner, just in the outer half to give it a little bit more definition. Let's do brows because they're bothering me. Most days I use the Anastasia brow definer pencil, and I usually will use the shade soft brown or taupe. And I don't do like a super sculpted defined brow like day to day. Okay, brows are done. Back to face. I'm gonna put a tiny bit of powder on, and I usually will use MAC Studio Fix powder or MAC Mineralized powder, and it just depends on if I want like to add on a little bit more coverage, then I'll do Studio Fix. If I just need a tiny bit and mostly just want to set everything, then I'll use Mineralized. If I use a totally full coverage liquid, then I'll usually just use a setting powder instead of an actual like face powder. Just depends on the day. And I know I use a lot of MAC products, and I'm really working on branching out and trying other ones. It's just that I worked for them for a few years and accumulated a lot of stuff from them. So yeah, now that we got a little bit of powder on, I'm gonna put on some bronzer. Lately, what I've been doing, because I feel like this saves me a little bit of time, I take my contour powder first, and I've been using this middle shade in the Anastasia Contour Kit a lot, and then I'll take an angled brush and do this first. And all the areas that I like to contour, which is usually just my cheekbones, forehead, jawline, and a little bit on my nose. And then I go in with my bronzer on a fluffy brush and kind of like go over it to soften it a little bit. But I feel like it just gives it a really pretty blend. For bronzer, I've been using either MAC Give Me Sun mineralized powder or this one from ColourPop. And I honestly don't remember what it is because they give it to you not in this packaging. It's like just the insert and you put it in. So now I can't see what the color is without taking it out of the insert. So, or taking it out of the compact. How do you get it out once it's in here? But it's a similar color to MAC Give Me Sun and it's significantly cheaper. The blush I was going to use survived. Hallelujah. I have been really liking Margin blush from MAC because it's got a glow in it, so it gives a really glowy cheek. My favorite highlighter of the moment is ColourPop Cream Highlight in the color Flexitarian. It's super pretty, and I like to use like a really dense foundation brush or a beauty sponge. Sorry, I'm getting text messages. And I just tap. Ooh, yes, 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 yes. In my Stefan voice. Isn't that pretty? Tap that onto the high points of my cheekbones, on my Cupid's bow, a tiny bit on the bridge of my nose, a little on my forehead, and a tiny bit on my chin. Once my highlight's on, I always like to just use what's left on my blush brush and go over that just a tad just to make sure it's all blended together really nicely. So that's all really as far as face goes. And then I'm just gonna throw on some mascara. And the one I use the most is MAC Extended Play Giga Black. It has a really tiny wand and I like it for my bottom lash line and it's just really defining. And if I'm feeling like I want a little bit more from this look and I have like an extra 2 minutes, I will pop on some false lashes. And my favorites are the Ardell Wispies or Demi Wispies. But real talk, I'm not putting any on today because it's nighttime and I'm probably just gonna wash this off and go to bed. Lips, more often than not, I'll use just some lip liner and a gloss. Staunchly Stylish is one from MAC that I'll use, or Soar lip liner from MAC, or Dervish, just something like that's fairly close to my natural lip color. And I'll just line eyelets, give them a little bit of definition, and then just throw a little bit of that color on there. For gloss, I recently have been using the Kim Kardashian cream liquid lipsticks that she did with Kylie like a while ago. And I always keep 1 or 2 of those in my bag. So I usually use one of those, but today I just bought the Fenty Gloss Bomb and I really want to try it. So it's such pretty packaging. It smells good. Whew, that's a lot of product. Whew, okay. So that is my current go-to makeup look. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will hopefully have more videos for you very soon. You should be sure to follow me on Instagram if you aren't already at JessicaLizLife, because I like to go on Instagram stories and ask like what video to do next and take little polls on there. So I like to get your guys' input. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I hate having to ask for that, but it really would mean a lot to me. I'm just really trying to be more consistent with this, so it'd be awesome to have your support. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.